I know you've heard about it. In astrology, everywhere, it's the blood moon lunar eclipse coming up on March 14th. You've seen tons of videos catastrophizing. You've seen tons of media, social media trying to get you all riled up about this. They're right. It is something to get riled up about, but I am here to help you navigate through it holistically and with a sound, practical mind. Blood moon eclipses are total full moon lunar eclipses. They get the name blood moon because they have a reddish tint to the color. Blood moon eclipses generally take place in patterns of three. So this is the first of three that are going to be coming up in the sign of Virgo. The first one's happening on March 14th, and then the other ones are going to happen on September 7th and March 3rd in 2026. So we've got our first one here in 2025, giving us a flavor of what the ones in 2026 are going to feel like. So these three blood moon eclipses will tell a story about shedding and releasing something. It's forcing us to peel back the layers to get to a greater truth. What are you willing to shed and release? What are you willing to Marie Kondo in your life in order to move on to a greater truth? That's what we're talking about here. Now, planetary transits, whatever you think about astrology, planetary transits do affect your health and your well being. And I'm going to tell you how to maintain your health, which is your true wealth, by the way, during this blood moon lunar eclipse in Virgo. Before I get into it, I'm Karrie. I'm an astrological coach and counselor. I counsel and coach you through the best ways to use your astrological transits to make the best decisions regarding your health, your wealth, your relationships, and your well being. My clients use me kind of like a therapist, except I also use their astrological birth chart to tell them what could be coming up next for them, and I coach them through how to navigate it. I am currently pursuing a certification in Buddhist psychology and as a spiritual care practitioner, focusing on manifestation, mindset, holistic health, and the divinity of the body. If you would like to work with me one-on-one, you can find all those details in the description box below. And check my praise page on my website for video and written testimonials from all the clients I've had and still work with after 9 years of being an astrological coach and counselor. And if you think one of my rates are a little too steep for you right now, you might want to partake of my basic income pledge. If you would like to get 50% off of a live 60-minute astrological reading with me, giving you all the information you need to know for 2025 based on your personal birth chart, join my basic income astrology pledge. Help me get 200 people to pledge 50% of my regular astrology reading rate before March 31st. Register yourself and tell your friends, your family, your neighbors, and your colleagues so we can all reach 200 people by the end of the month, and I can start doing your 2025 personal astrology reading for you. And if you live in Northern California, on March 18th, I am going to be co-hosting an event with tarot reader extraordinaire Halaku Hannah and the wicked witch of the West, Rebecca Farrar. We're doing an event called Mystic Marin. You can find it on Eventbrite, and it's all about witches, mystics, and holistic healers in Marin County or nearby. If you are looking for more ways to integrate magical and mystical into your life and business, we are 3 women who have done it very successfully, and we would love to share information with you. We're going to have food, we're going to have drink, we're going to have a sound bath. It's going to be really fun. So also look in the description box below for how you can get those 2-for-1 tickets and join us at Mystic Marin on March 18th. And please remember to hit that subscribe button and help me reach 1K subscribers. All right. I want to take some time with this. What is a blood moon? Definitely think about transformation when it comes to blood moons. I'm going to talk about what the blood moon generally means throughout history, and you'll want to pay attention and definitely listen to the rest of the video towards the end, because I'm going to give you some tips and tricks and some holistic practices to help you get through this particular blood moon eclipse. So blood moons bring transformation. Blood moon eclipses are associated with many superstitions They're basically something that society has feared, and they kind of associate with negativity, with omens, things like that, because they are ominous and tinged like red in the sky. They're called blood moons, for crying out loud. But the moon is connected to the feminine. It's connected to the womb space, the WOMB. And it is associated with your deep intuition, your emotions, the darker parts of your psyche, and the things we don't always want to explore. Now, this blood moon that's coming up on March 14th, 2025, in the sign of Virgo, you got to pay attention to this. Virgo is the sign of the Virgin, but a lot of people think that that means a Virgo is like, a wimp or something, or a Virgo is just like super persnickety and critical and judgmental. Yes, they can be that too. But the Virgin is a sovereign goddess. The Virgin comes into her full power when she understands her sovereignty. And so the Virgin doesn't actually need anyone outside of herself and source. The Virgin is an extension of God, source, creator, whomever you believe that to be, and they feel whole in their being. So anybody, if you're a Virgo rising, or you're like me, I've got 3 planets in Virgo, you understand the wholeness that comes from being sovereign, from knowing your whole full self. And this is what this blood moon is going to come in. Now it's going to happen for a lot of women, but everybody's got a placement of Virgo in their chart. So every place that you are wanting to come into your full whole sovereign self, everybody is going to get a little bit of this during the blood moon lunar eclipse in Virgo. Now, being an extension of God and connected to all of the universe, we are more powerful that way. We are more powerful than we have been led to believe. There is a reason this eclipse is happening right now. The world is waking up. Virgo also rules over our mind and body connection, our day-to-day projects, our routines, our kind of chop wood, carry water, everyday things, our organizational skills, and most of all, our mental health. You want to pay attention to that. When Virgo energy is really strong, it has a tendency to overthink and be judgmental and critical and all those things you've heard about Virgo. But this blood moon lunar eclipse, don't get trapped in the details or don't second guess yourself. This is about you coming back to your sovereign self and actually stop doubting yourself. It's coming back to your inner world and bringing it outward. So while this eclipse is mostly in the earthy sign of Virgo, there's also some Pisces energy coming in. There's so much stuff in Pisces right now. The sun is in Pisces, Saturn is in Pisces, the North Node is in Pisces, and Neptune are all in Pisces, very, very close to each other right now. So there's this earthy energy, but there's also this watery Piscean energy. And Pisces energy is very mystical. It's very much about the veil being very thin. It's very much about, supernatural psychic activity. So you might feel like you can connect with those you have lost on the other side, or be able to access your guides or your angels a lot easier right now, or just talk to God, talk to source a lot easier right now. It's so, the Piscean energy is also really good at, allowing us to open those portals of the imagination, where anything is possible, that like the void, as it's often called. All right. So when you have this much Pisces energy with this kind of like clarity and stripping down that comes in with Virgo, it's like you finally have let go of all the crap that was getting in the way, all the self-sabotage, all the stuff that was getting in the way of you manifesting your real dreams, what you really want in life. So this can be challenging energy. You might find yourself a bit depressed during this lunar eclipse in Virgo, because it's stripping away things that you thought you needed, but it's giving you stuff that you will actually be able to use. All right. So look on the bright side here. Do not let the eclipses get you down. Really focus on abundance and love and positivity. This is the first of 3 eclipses, so you got to get through this first one. There's still going to be more, okay? And now at the same time that we've got the lunar eclipse in Virgo on March 14th, and then we've got all this Piscean energy with all these planets in Pisces. We also have 2 retrogrades going on at the same time. Venus, which is the planet of love and relationships, is retrograde. And shortly after, Mercury, which is the planet of communication, will also be retrograde. So we're talking about Venus, which represents our love and connections with other people, kind of going backwards. And then Mercury, which represents our communication, how we receive information, also going backwards. Okay. So what we can expect is this kind of like, one, information will not be flowing as easily. You've already been experiencing that, right? But Venus in retrograde is going to be about how we have loved other people or how we have not been loved by other people. Coming into real clarity about that. You might even find that you have old love relationships or love interests from the past coming back into your life for whatever reason, for closure, for rekindling, whatever it is, right? But this is what a Venus retrograde usually does. But more than anything, I have to move my leg here because it's starting to fall asleep. More than anything, a Venus retrograde is about loving yourself. It's about, if someone comes back into your life from another time, they are coming back to say, hey, how far have you come in terms of putting yourself first and loving yourself? Because you can't be in a relationship with someone else if you're not loving yourself. What are they going to attach to? What are they going to securely attach to? So here's some couple things that you can do to navigate the blood moon eclipse. And just remember, blood moon eclipses are always for our highest growth and our highest potential. It may feel depressing. It may feel like there's a lack of warmth, right? Especially with Venus being in retrograde. But please keep in mind that it is really like, it's literally like letting go of some karmic pattern that you've had for a long time that was actually hurting you a lot. So anything you might be going through with this eclipse, it's so much better that you're going to be shedding it because it won't be hurting you underneath. So because this lunar eclipse is in Virgo, we want to focus on what Virgo energy is. There are parts of the body that are connected to Virgo. These parts get activated. Illness gets activated when it's connected to Virgo. So we want to talk about this. This lunar eclipse in Virgo is focusing on the things that Virgo rules, right? This is going to be women and women's bodies, right? Because remember that virgin energy, right? So we are probably going to globally see some sort of, unfortunately, attack on women and women's bodies or women's rights, things like that. We're also going to be seeing a surge of women fighting back for over women's bodies and women's rights. Virgo also represents health and the health of the body, the physical, spiritual, and mental body. Virgo also represents work and service, the work we do every day, but also things like meditation and our service to source. Like those are the ways that Virgo also works with work and service. And then Virgo also represents the common folk, the workers, the plebeians, as they have been called. So this also represents, because Virgo is an earth energy, agriculture, farmers, and food. You want to put a pin in what I just said, okay? Because you're going to see lots of themes coming up around agriculture, farmers, and food around this eclipse, March 14th, and for the 6 months after it. Okay. So definitely want to pay attention to that, especially those of us in the US. Okay. Now, full moon, there's also a couple of planets that are in tandem with this full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo that I want us to pay attention to. The full moon is sextile with Uranus and trine the sun. Uranus is that planet of unpredictability. It's the wild card. It's the radical. It's a radical activism, right? Now, the sextile, though, is a benevolent aspect. In astrology, astrologers often call the sextile a minor aspect, and it usually means like the potential for something good. If you take that avenue, here's the potential for something really good to happen. Okay. And so this full moon is also in a trine to the sun. The trine is also a really good, it's a major aspect that's really good. And the sun is about shining and the healthy ego. So we understand that even though this is a challenging transit of this eclipse, these are benevolent aspects. These are benevolent. I was going to say these are benevolent planets. Uranus isn't necessarily benevolent, but at least the aspects to it are benevolent. So there is safety here for positive results in the end. So yes, Uranus represents things happening quickly, unpredictable, out of the, wild card out of the blue, but it is for the greater good. So please take some solace in that. Now, the South Node at the same time is also in the sign of Virgo. And it has been, I'm sorry, it will be for the next 2 years. Okay. So, one of the things health wise that you might want to do when you're talking about a South nodes usually represent the stepping back of something, right? And if it's in Virgo, that means the stepping back of health or the stepping back of the focus on the health, you're not as judgmental, you're not as critical, you may not be paying attention to like little pains that you've been having, little, you may be ignoring that lump on your arm, you may be not paying attention to that you're coughing a lot lately, or some health symptoms are coming up. You might just be so stressed, you're not getting enough sleep, things like that, right? South Node in Virgo also is very connected to things like parasites, things that feed on the health, right? So it would really behoove you right now to get a parasite cleanse, especially with this, South Node in Virgo, a parasite cleanse. You want to take a look at herbs like wormwood or green black walnut or clove, combining those, or maybe doing a water fast. All right. But this energy, Virgo energy, again, it's Marie Kondo. It's about cleaning stuff out. And we got a South Node that usually means cleaning out stagnant stuff that's feeding on us, like our thoughts. Okay. Now, here's a couple lunar eclipse health suggestions. Virgo is a symbol of purity and self sufficiency. Okay. It's very service oriented. It's very analytical. It's very skeptical. It's very critical. It's very methodical. It's ruled by Mercury. So Virgo's challenge takes place in the mind. This is why I was talking about psychosomatic illnesses. Okay. Are you sick? You know what I'm saying? Like, definitely go to the doctor if you think something's up, but like also pay attention to where you may be creating an illness all on your own. Okay. In astrology, Mercury represents communication, it represents intellect, intellectuals, it represents language. It also represents building bridges between these things. Okay. So Virgo is a mutable sign. A lot of people don't understand that. They think because it's an earth sign that it's so grounded and practical. It is, but it's still ruled by Mercury, which represents air and the flowing of information. So understand with this lunar eclipse, you will be making an adjustment. This will not be a sit down eclipse. This is not a cardinal sign eclipse. You will be making an adjustment, just like the wind adjusts to be able to flow, to move around things, right? Um, Virgo is an earth sign, and this eclipse is meant to ground us into reality. So this is that big wake up call that I was saying, but we get to have an eclipse that helps us with this wake up call that grounds us into reality. So, what are some of the organs and parts of the body that Virgo rules? Virgo rules the intestines. You may have been feeling up into this eclipse, like sometimes even a month before, like your intestines or your digestion is not so great. Something's going on. Maybe you ate something. Virgo also represents the pancreas. I had a client recently. Um, uh, unfortunately revealed to me that she has been given a diagnosis of pancreatic cancer. Um, and it is very interesting because she is a Virgo and it is happening around this eclipse. So that's something to think about. Definitely check on your pancreas and its functioning. Also, Virgo rules the gallbladder. Virgo, the things that you might experience around this are like food sensitivities. You want to avoid triggering foods during this eclipse. You want to take care of your gallbladder and make sure you have a lot of fiber filled foods. You want to have whole grains. You want to have fresh fruits and vegetables. You want to have bitter greens. You want to use things like Japanese umeboshi, which is like a fermented plum, but you can often find it. It comes in a paste even. It's not just the full plum. The gallbladder is about practicing acceptance of what is. Again, wake up call. And we're being given the grounding energy of Virgo to accept what is. Remember, the gallbladder is where bile is housed, and fats cannot be digested without adequate bile. The Western diet, we often have a lot of problems with gallbladders because of the amount of saturated fats that we ingest here. This is where the term "can you believe they had the gall" came from. Okay. It's and when we talk about spiritual meridians, the gallbladder is where our courage and our judgment and our decision making is stored. Fun fact, I don't have a gallbladder. I had a really bad gallstone attack when I was 19, and I had it removed. And I can attest that courage, judgment, and decision making is a challenge of mine. I have 3 planets in Virgo. And even though I'm a Leo and I fight for my stuff, yeah, I got a roar going on. I'm a Leo, all right? But those 3 planets in Virgo, I'm so discerning about things. And sometimes judgment and decision making are challenging for me. And I do definitely think it has to do with the loss or the lack of a gallbladder. So, what are some things you can do during this eclipse? I'm not going to scare you here. We are here because we are obviously have the skills and the strength to get through it, or we wouldn't be here at this time in history. So, here's some wellness activities that you can do to keep up your health, your wealth, your relationships, and your well being during this time. Okay. So, definitely go to the spa, do things like steam baths or wrap yourself in herbal leaves and oils and medicines. You want to do things that are really detoxing the body. If you want to fast, this is also a great time to do a fast. Do things like gardening, any earthbound things that you do with your hands is a very Virgo thing. Gardening, crafting, right? Spending time with small animals. This is a 6th house of Virgo thing, but like dogs, cats, like domestic animals are really helpful when it comes to Virgo. And it's so interesting. Virgos always have some form of small animal in their life. There's almost a need to be the steward of an animal or the guardian of an animal. It's like it's part of the rite of passage for a Virgo or people who have Virgo in their charts. If you are into yoga and you want to be really like deep and into a Virgo, lunar eclipse in Virgo blood moon practice, you want to add the extended puppy pose to your practice. This is Uttana Shishosana. Okay. And this is, let me say that again. You want to do the extended puppy pose and add that into your practice, the Uttana Shishosana. Okay. And that is that's like a kind of bending over and puppy pose, but if you do extended puppy pose, look it up. It's actually really helpful to kind of let go of some of those Virgo stresses. If you want to add some wellness practices to your food, definitely use the spice cardamom. You can use it in tea. You could use it in your cooking. You could also put it into an oil and rub it on your skin and get into your system that way. Also, valerian root. Valerian root is really good because Virgo rules the nervous system, right? And valerian really helps in terms of like keeping that in balance. Again, you can put some valerian into oils and put it together for massage. All right, everybody. I hope you feel prepared for the full moon lunar eclipse, blood moon lunar eclipse in Virgo coming up on March 14th, 2025. I love to hear your thoughts about this content. Definitely put it down in the comments. I want to hear everything. And if you like this content, please like, share, and subscribe. Definitely join my mailing list and sign up for my newsletter where I put out a newsletter every week. And definitely follow me here on YouTube and all the things. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope you can use all of this information. Let me know in the comments. Until the next video, take care.